Good evening, guys. This is Chels Daft. Thank you so much for joining. This is the Frank Lampard debate. Chels Daft. Thank you so much for joining. This is the Frank Lampard debate. Hopefully, we get some people involved here. This is the Frank Lampard debate. Hopefully, we get some people involved here. This is the Frank Lampard debate. Hopefully, we get some people involved here. This is the Frank Lampard debate. Hopefully, we get some people involved here. This is the Frank Lampard debate. This is my sound gone funny? Hello? There you go, marvellous. Deary me, I had my desktop audio on as well as my microphone. God, that was horrible. Hopefully you guys are good. Hopefully you guys are okay. It's just, there's so much talk about Frank Lampard at the moment. I just wanted to get involved. Hello, Jack. How you doing? And just discuss the situation regarding Frank. Obviously, bearing in mind what happened in the game yesterday. We've all some of you might have watched it back. Some of you probably haven't. I still stand by what I was saying yesterday, that Pep Guardiola made a tactical switch after about 12-13 minutes of watching Chelsea dominate, and the tactical switch just completely changed the game, pushing the right back in to the middle of midfield to make an extra man when they had possession of the ball, bringing Raheem Sterling over to the right wing and playing a false nine really confused Chelsea. Chelsea couldn't deal with it, and they just were outstanding, Man City. We can't deny the fact that they are outstanding. So where does that leave Frank Lampard in particular? Get involved in the chat, everyone that's watching. Welcome along. Those of you who've not obviously put a comment in yet and just having a watch along, welcome to the channel, welcome to the stream. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it. It's just to have a bit of a discussion really on my part in relation to Frank and obviously what's going on at the moment, what's being said. The fact that Frank's under a lot of pressure. How much pressure do you guys think he's actually under? Is it a point that the Chelsea board are going to get involved? I don't know if you guys are aware, but The Athletic have posted up an article where they believe that Chelsea have already begun to make plans for life after Frank Lampard. It's not clear whether or not Chelsea will give him time, or if they just want something in the background they can turn to if things go wrong. It's not clear whether or not they're going to let him carry on to the end of the season. But if results continue to go badly, then the pressure's going to ramp up. Chelsea will probably react, which is something that we're probably used to. It's something that we don't want to see to Frank. And I've just been watching the Monday Night Football on Sky, and Jamie Carragher's been having quite a good discussion about the situation with the likes of Frank Lampard, Arteta, people like that. And he's talking about experience. And I just want to show you a graphic which is doing the rounds today. And this is the situation that Frank Lampard finds himself in. Now, this is taken from The Sun, but there's all sorts of different graphics at the moment. And Frank Lampard, after 55 games, has got the worst points per game percentage or points per game average over his time in charge than any of the other Chelsea managers in the Abramovich era. Now, one thing to say, apart from a couple of them, apart from the likes of Avram Grant and Roberto Di Matteo, you'd have to say that every other manager listed there above Frank Lampard had managerial experience. They had won trophies as managers. They had an extensive reputation in the game of football in Europe and worldwide as managers. And that's the difference. Whereas the likes of Frank Lampard hasn't got that experience to fall back on. He took a year working at Derby as the manager, as we all know, and had a successful period there. Lost out the playoff final to Aston Villa. But he then handed the job which he could never turn down, Chelsea last season. And all of us thought at the time that it looks as though it's going to be a shift in philosophy for Chelsea. Rather than look for the success and trophies now, we're going to invest in Frank, invest in the academy boys coming in, and we're going to take a little bit more time to try and develop a squad that's capable of being successful again and dominating again. And John, hello. Andy, welcome. Giampero, hello. And it's just something that's of note here. I mean, Jose Mourinho, successful manager before he come to Chelsea with Porto. Antonio Conte, successful manager. Carlo Ancelotti, successful manager. Benitez, the same. Scolari, the same. Hiddink, the same. Sarri, not so much, but had years of experience as a manager. Di Matteo wasn't experienced, as we know. Ranieri, successful as a manager. Wealth of experience. Villas-Boas, successful as Porto manager. Not necessarily that much experience, but it's just, that's the situation at the moment. He's got the worst points per game average of all the managers. But a point to make is obviously the situation regarding experience and what he can fall back on. There's a lot of people calling for his head. There's a lot of people that, I'm going to say it, and people probably won't agree. There's a lot of people that have been supporting Chelsea since they've been successful and don't know any different. They don't know what it was like back in the day when Chelsea were championship team, when they come up and the hope for us was to have a good season to finish top half of the Premier League. This is what it used to be like. Our big games was when the likes of Liverpool come to join, the Arsenal, the Tottenham, that sort of thing. And that was the highlights of our season. So things changed. They began to change when the likes of Glenn Hoddle come in and he's, started the ball running with Ruud Gullit and then Vialli. And then obviously, Ranieri come in and took us that step forward. And then obviously Jose come in and that was it. But it's just a situation regarding experience and the fact that under this amount of pressure, this is the first time as a manager, Frank has had to deal with any sort of pressure of this kind. And he's got no previous experience of dealing with this situation and getting out of this situation and maybe dealing with the players to fall back on compared to the likes of your Ancelottis, the likes of your Ranieris, your Contes, people like that. And it's a learning curve for Frank. And I sincerely hope that he's given the time to learn from it and get through it. But this is the situation doing the rounds at the moment. And what do you guys in the comments section, what do you guys think of the points per game and compared to other managers and having experience to fall back on? What do you guys think of that? Let's have a look at some of the comments. Giampero, under a lot of pressure, but please give him this season. John Cox, good evening, mate. Surely they knew what they'd taken on after only one season at Derby. If they don't give him this season, that's beyond belief. Yeah, I agree. Sarge, it's hard to watch it. It is hard. It is hard to watch. Dilly Ding, I want to say give Lampard more time, but I'm unsure. I think the job might have come too early. That's the point, and, it's all about experience, isn't it, at the end of the day? Derek Simmons, Klopp and Guardiola were given time because they won trophies and reached Champions League finals. I don't think Lampard should be called in the same sentence. Yeah, that's a good point. I guess, good point. Andy, got a theory. Frank gives them an encyclopedia to remember because he's clever. It's too much to try and process when their game is in flow. It's all Chelsea. Welcome along. Give it till the end of the season. I think that's a good shout. Is he going to get that time? Hopefully he does, and more than that and beyond. Mizzy, also think if we've got some of the fouls, what's that? Different position. Yeah, fouls we should have had in a different position. Yeah, Werner, the penalty yesterday. Was that a penalty? I think he stepped across him and took him away from the ball. He didn't play the ball, did he? Rodrigo, but it wasn't given. So that's the situation at the moment regarding Frank Lampard and the graphic, as you can see here, the points per game record, which is the real sort of focus of people's attention at the moment. So, I mean, as I say, it's something that people are literally looking at and are judging him by. And again, just to reiterate, if you're just joining the stream, this is the graphic that's doing the rounds. He's got the worst points per game rate or record at the moment of any other football manager that's been in charge of Chelsea under Abramovich in the Abramovich era. But most of those managers, 8 of them, I think, have all got past experience of winning trophies or lengthy experience of managing in the game, which is something that Frank hasn't got. So, I mean, what do you guys think at the moment? I mean, Sarge just put, well, the director of football for a word in Frank's ear. Well, I mean, he's got, if you think about it, he's got the likes of Petr Cech to speak to. Obviously, Cech's not really been, in the position. He stepped out of the game a couple of seasons ago and took over the role at Chelsea. Frank has got all sorts of people he can fall back on, he can relate to, he can contact, he can seek advice from. But I just sort of think that Frank is quite a proud individual. He's not stupid. He's, in fact, he's probably one of the most intelligent people in the game. Frank knows exactly what the situation is. Frank Lampard knows exactly what it takes. And Frank Lampard knows, what it's going to take to pull the team out of it. I can imagine, if you think back to the Chelsea situation, remember when Andres Villas-Boas was in charge and we went away to Napoli, Champions League quarter-final, whatever it was, and we went away and he decided to drop Frank. I think he dropped Frank Lampard, he dropped a couple of others out the first team, and we went out there and lost 3-1 when Ashley Cole cleared off the ball off the line to stop it from being 4-1, I think. And I thought, this is on top of my head. And there was a situation there where obviously the squad was divided. They weren't support. They didn't back the manager. He's been in this situation where a manager loses the backing of players. Numerous times you hear reports of back in the day where Chelsea players got together with the management and they literally had these sort of meetings where they just get things off their chest, they get it all out in the open, and then they regroup and they go again. And I think a lot of people are saying that some of the players are not playing for Frank Lampard. What do you think on that particular comment? In the chat, let me know. More of these comments. Jack, needs to give him more time. We're quick to judge. He's new, he's less experienced yet. Andy, they must get fed up when decisions go against them. Carragher said they weren't even trying to tackle. Yeah, there's what I will say about Carragher is that he said that after Man City scored, or was it from the De Bruyne chance which he missed, or when Man City scored their first goal, there was a period of 4 minutes 50 seconds. Chelsea made 6 passes in that period. Man City made 50, and 2 of our passes were by Edouard Mendy, which just shows you how bad we were. Just couldn't get hold of the game. Once they made their tactical switch, as I say, Cancelo pushed into the middle of midfield to create an extra man, so they always had a spare player. Sterling come out to the right wing, away from playing through the middle up front, and it became a false 9, with people just roaming all about the place, and Chelsea just did not know what to do, how to react. Silva and Zuma were having a go at each other a few times. It's the first time you've seen Thiago Silva literally throw his arms about in despair, because the two of them had nobody to mark. They didn't know what to do. Do they go with De Bruyne dropping deep? Man City out. I mean, Guardiola was outstanding yesterday. I have to say that. It's all Chelsea. Question is, will Roman give Lamps the time? We know Roman has been quick to pull the trigger. Hopefully he does. I really sincerely hope that he does. Ice Cold, welcome along. Ding ding, or dilly ding. I love Lampard, will always be, but the system isn't working. I'm going to get onto the system in just a minute. Why be stubborn when it doesn't work? Getting Werner and Havertz firing is the key to a successful season. And it's all Chelsea again, with Roman didn't care for Mourinho or Di Matteo. So I just want to go through a couple of things that, obviously, regarding the tactical formation. A lot of people are saying that the 4-3-3 doesn't suit us at the moment. It's not suiting the players. We're becoming too unbalanced. I really hope that, it does. But this is what we're playing at the moment. Let me just bring this up. So this is arguably the strongest Chelsea 11 in a 4-3-3 formation. Tell me if you've got a different opinion. But you're looking at Edouard Mendy in goal, the back 4 of Chilwell, Silva, Zuma and Reece James. Midfield, you've got Conte, Kovacic, Mount. Up front, Pulisic, Ziyech, Timo Werner. Chelsea played that team apart from Aspi for Reece James yesterday. And for me, it looks balanced. The team just looks balanced. It looks balanced with Conte sitting in front of the back 2. But as we know, he's more of a... He plays a bit further forward rather than as a defensive midfielder. So if anything, he sort of plays square with Kovacic and Mason Mount alongside. You'd hope that out wide, Reece James will support Hakim Ziyech, as you've seen already this season. On numerous times, we've seen these two back each other up and link up, which is good. Chilwell and Pulisic are getting a bit of an understanding, although at times yesterday it fell apart. But that's pretty much the 4-3-3. I mean, what do you guys think of 4-3-3 and these players as the strongest options that we've got? Let me know in the comments section. There's an argument regarding Kai Havertz. I'm going to get into Kai Havertz in a little bit, so just stay tuned. Let's just have a look at some of these comments coming in. Tom, we clearly lack leadership on the pitch. I think Declan Rice can change that, and I'd bring JT back from Villa to support Frank. Yeah. I mean, that's a good shout, I have to say. Mount needs to be dropped. Dogbone, welcome along. I think Declan Rice is definitely an option. He's someone that... It's interesting to see that if Chelsea go and sign Declan Rice, where they're going to play him. They're going to play him in midfield, they're going to play him as a centre-back. I think it's interesting to see... Because you've seen different reports over the course of the season that Frank saw him as a midfielder, then he sees him as a centre-back. You know, at the minute, it's going to cost Chelsea another 80, 90 million to try and get hold of him. Or 60, 70 plus Tomori. But I hope Tomori stays. I really, really do. So the 4-3-3 formation looks like this. Ice cold, yeah. 4-3-3 with 2 attacking. 8 seemed to be the ideal line, but Havertz can replace Kovac once he gains form. I thought Kai Havertz, government has put a halt to the league. Oh, have they? What has he said? What's Bojo said? Let's just have a look. What has Boris Johnson just said? I'm just going to go on to the BBC while I'm talking to you guys, just to see what the update is. What's Boris Johnson said? Schools were closed, exams cancelled, people were told to stay at home. Let's have a look here. It doesn't say anything yet, does it? We must go to national lockdown. Does it mean the football's finished? I don't think so. I can't see anything on here saying that the Premier League is being cancelled or being postponed again. If anything, you could see it happening. You can definitely see it happening with all the situations with the COVID cases that are coming out, and you know. No, there's nothing. Yeah, COVID hoax again. Dear me. So, I mean, at the minute, as I say, let's get back to the case in hand, Frank Lampard. So, getting back to the situation regarding Kai Havertz. So, Kai Havertz, I think, did well yesterday when he come on, looking to impress. I thought he did well. I thought Callum Hudson-Odoi did okay. I thought Hakim Ziyech couldn't really get into the game and have an influence yesterday and struggled. He also sort of struggles because he needs to work back as well. If you're going to play this formation, at times you need to work back, track back and make tackles. That's something that he needs to develop in his game. But did you buy Hakim Ziyech to do that? Not necessarily. But Kai Havertz did well when he come on. But for me, I think he's a number 8. A number 10. As a number 10, playing in behind the striker. For me, he's not a box-to-box midfielder. He's someone that just needs to... Somebody that just needs to, he needs to learn that side of the game, the box-to-box and the physicality, which is what he's going to do. He's definitely going to get there. He's just taking time because he needs time to settle into the league. Let's judge him next season. Let's not jump the gun. But that's the 4-3-3. So when it comes to Kai Havertz, I'm wondering if Kai Havertz could have a real big influence and a big say on what happens to our season from this point. And the reason that I'm saying that, and I'm sure it's something that Frank Lampard is maybe considering, is if we switch to formation and we did this instead, 4-2-3-1. So 4-2-3-1 formation, the same goalkeeper back 4, Conte, Kovacic playing alongside each other deeper in the midfield with a front 3 of Pulisic, Havertz, Ziyech supporting the striker Timo Werner. What do you think of that? Red Pill, discuss our chance creation for top half teams versus bottom half teams. Yeah, it's definitely a stumbling block, big time. It's still the same game for decades players. To bust the gut to cover, attack and tackle. These mega players should be able to play anywhere. Yeah, Good point, Gerald. Definitely agree with it. So, what do you guys think of the 4-2-3-1? Kai Havertz playing his natural position, playing behind Timo Werner, supporting Werner, linking up with Timo, which is going to give Timo Werner confidence, which is going to give Kai Havertz confidence, relying on Conte and Kovacic in that deeper position, with Mason Mount fighting for a position as a number 10 or fighting for a position alongside N'Golo Conte. Is that going to be a better option? Is the 4-2-3-1 something that Frank Lampard should be considering? Is it something that you think will give us more of an attacking threat? Will it give us better results and performances against the top 6 teams, the top teams that we've lost games to? Is it someone, obviously, yeah, Billy Gilmour? Is Billy Gilmour ready to play first team football week in, week out? Is he going to give you more of an overall influence over the course of a season than the likes of Mateo Kovacic, for example, at the moment, at this current time? Mason Mount, for example. So, it's something to consider. Dilly, I've got my doubts about Kova and Conte as the holding midfielders. 4-2-3-1, in my opinion, is the most optimal formation for the team. Werner would not become isolated yet. Very good point. If anything, playing a 4-2-3-1, I mean, I was not an advocate of it, I have to say, because I thought it makes us look a little bit unbalanced. But when you've got a game like we had yesterday against Man City second half, where they're prepared just to sit back in and defend, and you've got to try and break them down, if you've got 4 players in attacking areas, so if you basically tell that front 4, you just go forward, you deal with creating and scoring goals, we're going to sit in our positions here, static, you guys go and create. Have the freedom to go and do what you want, go and create. Having 4 players in that attacking area higher up the pitch forces the opposition into a bit of a problem, because it's something they got to deal with. You're giving the opposition something to think about. For example, playing a number 10 like Kai Havertz or Mason Mount. Are you going to designate a centre-back to deal with him or a defensive midfielder? If you do that, then you might be lacking bodies and some more strength in the middle of midfield. You might have to rely on 2v2 situations in the middle of midfield where you'd hope Chelsea would get the upper hand. Obviously, out wide, Pulisic and Ziyech, they still got to do the same job as in the 4-3-3. They still need to go and push and try and create, but they need to track back. But hopefully you'll be hoping that they force the fullbacks backwards. Didn't do that enough yesterday for Man City because, as I say, they pushed their right back Cancelo into the middle of midfield when they had possession, which caused us a hell of a problem. Because no matter who picked the ball up in the middle of midfield, they always had a spare man. Some more comments. Mikhail, hi, welcome along. Looks good, and Pulisic Ziyech could come inside sometime, let Chilwell and James fit on the wings. Mikhail, as much as I like the idea of Havertz playing number 10 and us playing through the middle, I absolutely have zero confidence in the 2-man pivot. Yeah, I think that's a very good point. That's always the argument against that particular formation. Adrian, are we willing to continue to play out of form Werner over Giroud and Abraham? One of the issues is that the players are not being played based on merit. Otherwise, Hudson-Odoi would be playing as would Olivier Giroud. It's a good shout. Very good shout. You could play the 4-2-3-1 with Giroud. You could play the 4-2-3-1 with Tammy. I think Timo's in the team has been playing because they're looking for him to get a goal and get some confidence. Imagine going as long as he has and not being advised or not being involved, and being put on a bench. It's just going to make his confidence even worse. But I think if you put Kai Havertz playing in behind in a 4-2-3-1, I think Kai Havertz could have a real influence on Timo Werner, on the Chelsea team. Frank Lampard's immediate future, I think it might calm things down. And then there's another option. Now, another option that I've sort of considered here is when things are not working with playing 1 up front and 2 wide, why don't we make a switch and do something like this? We've got the players for it and go 4 diamond, 4 midfield and 2 up front. Why can't we play Olivier Giroud with Tammy? Why can't we play Olivier Giroud with Timo Werner? Why can't you still do You know, you take out the additional midfielder, you've got N'Golo Kanté who will sit just in front of the two centre-backs. You've then got your Pulisic and Ziyech wide, but playing a little from a deeper position maybe. Kai Havertz is the number 10. And Timo Werner and Olivier Giroud up front. 2 up front. What do you think of that? Is that going to be an option? Is that something that is an acceptable solution to what the problems we currently find at the moment? Is that a formation where you're going to literally run the risk of leaving yourself isolated in the middle of midfield? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. Let's read some more. Ice Cold. Cancelo move DM and City essentially changed to a back three. Yep. Crafty from Pep it was. And he did fantastic, I have to say, to spot it. So 2 up front. 4 diamond midfield formation. Is that something that could be an option when you're chasing the game? Or when you can't break teams down? Rather than stay with a 1 up front. Rather than stay, like Giroud, for example, I can't remember what game it was, found himself quite isolated up front. Couldn't get people in and around him and struggled to hold the ball up. You look at the Arsenal game with Tammy Abraham, struggled to hold the ball up, become separated from the midfield. And it's just something that we've got to get the ball to stick, but also you need support. So maybe playing 2 up top will give the opposition something different to think about, knowing they've always got to keep 3 defenders back, 2 marking and 1 on the cover. It's something to think about. You can impose yourself on other teams and give them something to think about rather than worry too much about what they're doing. You're still going to expect, Kanté to sit there and to work hard in front of the 2 centre-backs. You're still going to look for Kai Havertz to try and get involved. You just sort of worry maybe. If you had Mason Mount playing there in place of Kai Havertz, you'd think Mason Mount at the moment, based on previous experience we've seen this season, would be grafted harder, more of an influence maybe. That's not a slight on Kai Havertz. Gerald, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Happy New Year to you, mate. So is that going to be an option? Is that an option for Chelsea to think of 2 up front? Force yourselves on the opposition. Make them think about what you're doing rather than you guys having to deal with, rather than us guys having to deal with opposition, for example. I think the biggest problem that we've got at the moment, and a lot of people are saying it on the chat on social media, is when you have a first half like you did against Man City, there needs to be a reaction. And it's something that Frank Lampard will learn over time, provided that he's given the time, because in my view, he deserves to be given the time. As I said earlier, if you're missing the stream from early, you can watch it on playback on the channel later on this evening. But compared to other managers, he's had no real experience to fall back on where times have been tough, where he's had to come through it and learn from it. He's literally learning on the job as he's going along. And a lot of people are saying he doesn't react quick enough. We're not making changes in game. We're not changing formations when it's obvious that things have not worked out for us. And I think that's the biggest problem that people are sort of struggling with. What would you have done yesterday against Man City? Bearing in mind they were playing false 9. Would you go and match them up? Would you change to go 4-4-2? Would you change to go 4-2-3-1 and impose yourself on them to force their midfielders to work like the likes of Rodrigo, to drop deep and cover a number 10, for example, take him out the game, relying on their other midfielders to be busy, but then you've still got Kovacic, Kanté, for example, or Mount and Kanté to work in that middle of the pitch, and then hopefully you're going to get more ball in the attacking area to link up with a striker and with the wide players. That's something that maybe could have been done yesterday, pushing 2 up front. If Man City had gone to a back 3, push 2 up front against them. Give them something to think about. I think that's the problem. Chelsea never really gave Man City anything of real note to think about. And when we did open the door late in the game, we done it by something that I'm always saying about a Chelsea team. And it doesn't matter if it's a team playing in any formation. Chelsea are at their best when they move the ball forward quickly, incisive passing, and they get the ball in the box as quickly as possible, as we saw yesterday with the cross that come into the box for Callum Hudson-Odoi, who puts it in. Timo Werner was there just in front of him, couldn't really reach it. Hudson-Odoi was there anyway. But that's exactly how we open teams up, by moving the ball quick. And that's what Chelsea didn't do for the most part yesterday. They were given a bit of a footballing lesson yesterday, which I think every single one of us agree with. And it was a real eye-opener. And I think Frank Lampard will watch that game back numerous times just to see how it played out and Pep's physical change. If you haven't seen my match commentary, it's on my channel. And if you forward it to around it's between 10 and 15, 16 minutes, I actually pinpoint the fact where Guardiola has pulled Cancelo to give him the tactical instruction for them to switch the formation. And after that, as I say, he pushed midfield, Sterling comes to the right, they play false nine, and that's it. So let's have a little more comments. Where was I? Okay, so Dean got my doubts over Cover and Conte. We said that. Drop Captain America for Cho. He's not produced. Gerrard looks good. Pulisic Ziyech could come inside sometimes. Much like the idea of Havertz playing number 10, us playing through the middle. Absolutely zero confidence. Saw that one earlier. Cancelo moved DM. Yeah. Tough to say about true striker formation. When was the last time we tried that? I know. I think likes the 4-4-2 diamond, Mikhail. Jampero, I reckon it's confidence problem, not so much a formation change. The formation could be modified accordingly. Mikhail, just means double duty for the three-man midfield to defend off the ball, which require playing compact, but positionally would suit Ziyech, crossing from deeper. Adrian, Lampard has two issues to contend with, getting the team performing now and also integrating and getting the most out of the new signings. He may not be able to do it both simultaneously without pain. Exactly. Mikhail, it's not that he can't do it, it's that he won't. He's got strong opinions that override common sense. Good shout. Mezzi, got to be hard moving to a foreign country in the middle of lockdown. Yeah. Ice cold, set up by a great run and pass by Havertz. It was. That's the goal, the Hudson-Odoi goal yesterday. Gerrard, after the first goal, we needed someone on the field to get us to tighten up, settle down 15 minutes while I work them out. Yeah. Hassan, counter-attacking football should be the way forward. It should be. I think it probably will be. Dilly Ding, I agree. That's why I've got my doubts 4-3 will ever work, because we don't get enough bodies forward, especially if Kova and Conte play together. Makar, if we're winning trophies, then sure, he's got free pass to do whatever, but he's just clawing to stay in contention for Europe. Professional football not affected. Thank you, John. Mezzi, we need to be playing fit players. Hudson, been looking sharp. Ziyech looks to fight for his place, just not walk in. Maybe. I think we need someone on that right-hand side. Can't keep playing Werner on the wing. Really, Lampard needs to be sacked, to be honest. Frank Lampard out. Okay. I would have made Mount drop next to Conte. Better game, are you kicks? Drogba is a legend. I'm a Galatasaray fan. Fernando, yeah, he is. He's an absolute legend. The false nine put an extra player in the midfield. It did. I'd sack him. He surely lacks experience. Ayobami, thank you very much. Spyros, when you think the board will sack Lampard? I don't think they're going to sack him at the moment. I want Frank Lampard to stay and be given the opportunity to carry on. Every manager deserves the right to try and get themselves out of a sticky wicket, of a difficult situation. This is the first time Frank Lampard's had to deal with that in his managerial career, which is short. It's only 2 and a bit seasons, let's be honest. So I want to see Frank Lampard be given the opportunity to come through this and come out the other side as a better manager, have the experience of dealing with a situation that he finds himself in at the moment, the pressure, the spotlight, all the negativity, and come out the other side. That's what I want to see. Spire Mash, big clubs need to employ managers with experience of winning trophies. If you didn't see the beginning of the stream earlier, that's exactly what most of the managers had. So let's just have a look at how many people are watching currently. 50. So guys, I'm going to put this up again. So this is what was up earlier in the stream. This is the points per game graphic. Apologies to you guys that have seen this already. But this is the points per game graphic that's going around at the moment, with Frank Lampard having the worst of all the managers under the Abramovich era. But the point that I was making earlier is, look at those managers. on that list, the majority of them: Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte, Carlo Ancelotti, Benitez, Scolari, Hiddink, Ranieri, Villas-Boas to a point. All of them had experience previously, successful trophy-winning seasons. All of them, renowned worldwide. You know, all of them had... I mean, Villas-Boas was a coach under Mourinho for a number of years at Porto, or a scout, I think, in the beginning, a scout under Mourinho, and the same thing at Porto. Then at Chelsea, under Mourinho again. So he'd worked in that particular environment. Everybody else on those names, apart from Avram Grant and Di Matteo, had extensive managerial experience, and majority of them successful. Trophy wins, Premier League, or league wins, cup wins. Some of them European Cups, some of them World Cups. You know, it's a situation where Frank Lampard hasn't got that experience to fall back on when times are hard, and it's a learning curve for him. And I really sincerely hope he's been given the opportunity to put it right. But think Mourinho, the success he's had, Conte, Ancelotti before he come to Chelsea, Benitez at Liverpool, at Valencia, Scolari, world-renowned names here, Gus Hiddink, you know, Ranieri, Di Matteo had none, Avram Grant had none really, and then Frank Lampard. So it's something that people just need to understand, and that's why I think that Frank Lampard will be given the chance to put things right. If it goes wrong, if they lose more games, 2, 3, 4 more games, I think he's then going to be out. And I just think that's just the nature of the beast. But I really, really hope that he turns it round. I hope him and the players get together and turn it round. More comments. Let's have a look here. Better games. Can I say we have no choice in getting him sacked? I feel he'll get sacked, okay? David, this all started straight after Alonso Gate. Yeah, Alonso and the West Brom nightmare. Who do you want in the transfer window? We need to get rid of a centre back and a left back, first and foremost. We're unbalanced. Got too many players in the squad. Let's have a look here. I back Lamps. I've always seen this as a 3-year project. That's the thing that people need to remember. When he come in and had to deal with a transfer ban, losing Eden Hazard and bringing academy boys in, he should be given the time. Did outstanding. All of us said last year, if we finish anywhere near top 6, it'll be a great season. We finished 4th. Alan, we all know experience when he got hired. Give Frank the opportunity to fail and learn. Exactly. Carmine, we have no ability to score from midfield. Think about it. We're so easy to deal with because of this. Abuli, Frank Lampard needs to be sacked. To be honest, Frank Lampard needs to be out of Chelsea. Paul, I was Lampard out, but you changed my mind. Kubi, I'm sad about the news about the reports on sacking Frank. All the names mentioned have been sacked somewhere already. Tuchel from PSG, Allegri sacked from Juve. Gonna ride or die. Tunde, he's too arrogant to learn from obvious mistakes. Ayubami, what do you want in the transfer window? I think I've answered that. Daniel, hello mate, welcome along. Tunde, Lampard will never win a single trophy with this team. John Cox, Frank Lampard is not arrogant. Be careful what you wish for. Lewis, he's got no plan B or C. We can't wait for him or we'll be without European football. I know you say that, Lewis, but it brings me to a point here. I just want to show you this. This is the Premier League table as it stands before Liverpool take on Southampton tonight. As you can see, of all the negativity of the games the games that we've lost, you know, we are 3 points behind 4th place. Albeit City have got games in hand and Tottenham's got a game in hand. We're 3 points off of 4th place. Is it really that drastic, the situation that we're in? Is it really a situation where we're going to be calling for Frank Lampard, who's brought in to work with a project of developing the youngsters in the first team squad, and then hopefully when the ban's over, investing in the squad to try and build something? That takes time. Are we seriously saying, looking at this now, 3 points behind 4th place, that it's that bad? It's over for Frank Lampard. Is that realistic? Yes, the teams above us, quite a few of them, have got either 1 game or 2 games in hand. But everyone is just going to town on the fact that, you know, Chelsea this, Chelsea that. But is it that bad looking at that table? I mean, look at Arsenal. Arsenal are 3 points behind us, played the same amount of games. They've lost 8 games this season, Arsenal. And a couple of weeks ago, everyone was talking about Arteta out. Look what's happened to the coverage on Arsenal and Arteta now. 3 wins on the spin. You know, we all saw Arsenal Fan TV going mental. You know, people shouting at each other, arguing with each other. Look up now after 3 wins on the spin. You know, everyone's raving about Leeds at the minute as well. They're 3 points behind us. I know it's our form against the top teams, and that will come back to bite us if we don't get our act together and press on. But I'm just asking you guys, as you look here, is that as bad as everyone thinks? Are we literally in a decline where we're just going to fall down the table and not get any more points in the coming weeks? Now, in saying that, I'm going to give you another stat, and this is the fixtures coming up. So the next run of games that we've got, FA Cup coming up on Sunday, Morecambe. And then a week on Friday, we're back in the Premier League, taking on Fulham, who are struggling at the moment. We then, 3-4 days later, we take on Leicester away, which is a dodgy game. Then we take on Wolves at home, followed by Burnley at home. So let's just say Leicester's the banana skin. Let's be honest. So if we pick up 3 wins out of those 4 games and pick up 9 points, what difference would that make to the table? That'll push us up to 35 points in the next 4 league games. Will it look that bad? You know, that's what I'm saying. It's a situation where a lot of people are reacting to how we're doing, how we're playing, and it's just something that we just need to, you know, we just need to understand and have a little bit of perspective here. That's my view on it. That's my own view on it. I don't know what you guys think. Let me scroll through the chat and catch up with what I've missed. So, right, let's get back to this. So, let me just catch up. Sorry, guys. Daniel Lampard in. I may be honest, but I believe everything he said post-match is a very rough period, but it's also a long-term thing. I don't think so. It seems to be a work in progress for everyone involved. Mezzi, if you look at them managers, yeah, good foundation to work off. Lassen, hello, welcome. Mezzi needs 3-year minimum. Spyros, Lampard. I want to ask why Lampard doesn't use Havertz. He doesn't use Kai Havertz in the 4-3-3 from the start because, in my view, Kai Havertz is not a number 8 box-to-box midfielder. Kai Havertz is a number 10. I will do this again. I will go over the tactical formations that I'll show everybody else that's joining late on in the stream. Drop a like on the video for me as well, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it already. But I'm going to get on to more about Havertz. Just for you, Spiros. Kevon, Lampard needs time to develop and transform Chelsea. Andrew, welcome. Players got to look at themselves, not all Lampard's fault. Exactly. As soon as you cross that white line, you're paid to do a job. You play football for an hour and a half every few days, and you're on 3-figure salaries, 6-figure salaries even. I'd jump through hoops if it was me. So pull your finger out. Simple. Samuel Brown. Those above us in the league are not dropping points either. Some of them are. Lassen, Frank Lampard, go out, please. Okay, Red Pill. If our form against top half team doesn't improve, what then? Well, that's when questions will be asked, definitely. Jack, I reckon we need to keep him to see what he's like when Drogba and Terry become coaches. With them combined plus Chet will be a massive improvement. I think that probably might be a long-term plan. Lewis, we've not beaten anyone in the top 10. There are 4 teams that still need to play. Yeah. Ice Cold, it's now Arteta in. Showing we've had to kick off their season. Yeah, big, yeah. We need to back our man, says WTS. Dilly, 17 games, we only won 7 so far. That's not good enough. If Spurs win the game now, they're 6 points ahead of us. 1 win against top 10 teams. 0 against the big 6. Yeah, that's what you'll be judged on. Alan, where was the call for Lamp's head when we were 14 games unbeaten? Exactly. Things just change in an instant. Kevon, I think we can beat Fulham, hopefully. Chendam, it's that bad. We cut our losses now and move on. Spire Mash, was it difficult to see we need a top striker and a young quality central defender during the summer? We seem to have an obsession with midfielders and wingers. David, we say about the table, but our performance is not where they should be. Yeah, I understand. I do see that point. Alonso, we're expected to do more on the pitch. It's the display of the players, more of the issue than the league position. Covered that a moment ago. Lassen, you must give Lampard 2 years. John, Philip, Lampard needs to change his random inconsistency of playing players who are not on form. Play those who can score and win his way as changing the 4-3-3 tactics, which I'm going to get into in just a minute again. Alfie, possession-based football, side-to-side crap. Yeah, I know. And I said it earlier, Chelsea are at their absolute best when they move the ball forward quickly, incisively, at pace. We didn't see it enough yesterday. Didn't see it enough at all. It's all about a top half form, says Red Pill. Lewis, I don't know how old you are, but you separate the player from the manager. Yeah, I understand. Mid-40s. Better games than the captain here like John Terry. Alfie, loads of crosses, wrong striker up front and side-to-side football. Reece James, good defender, but does not take on anyone. Icat, please, mates, give me an answer. What kind of deadline has to be given to Frank Lampard? I think if he loses like 3 or 4 more games in the coming weeks, I think he's going to struggle to keep in the job. When it looks as though Chelsea are struggling to make the top 4, that's when the Chelsea board normally react, and hopefully they won't. Hopefully Frank will learn from this and come out the other side. As I say, he's not an experienced manager. He's not experienced anything like this before. He needs time to learn to come out of it and evolve and become a better manager for it. Kubi, all the Arteta outs sound like Lampard outs will be quiet after 3 to 5 games. Some fans are unreasonable. I'm Lampard in. I'm going to ride or die with Lampard. Good shout. For the fact, let's have a look, where am I at? For the fact the manager keeps playing his players out of positions, he'll continue to get it all wrong. Alan, Lampard out. Cancel culture is social media. It's its best. Oyabami, Werner's not playing as expected. Mezzi Fizzy. Daniel. Lewis, hello. Thing we crave most Chelsea fans: consistency, stability in management. Exactly. Well, the first one's not willing to give the manager time. Shame on us. The players got no motivation, says Andy. Alex, 6 matches ago we're being considered for the title. How can we talk Frank Lampard out? Exactly. If I'm going to miss your chats while I'm doing this tactics section, for those people that have missed it, I'm just going to do it again. J Mojo, honestly haven't any Chelsea games since Arsenal defeat. I can't do it anymore. So, for those of you that missed it earlier, this is the formation currently the best 11. 4-3-3. Mendy, Chilwell, Silva, Zuma, James, Kante, Kovacic, Mount, Pulisic, Ziyech and Werner. That looks to be the most balanced team that we have. Most balanced formation. But it doesn't look like it's working at the moment. Against Man City, we really struggled with their extra man in the middle of midfield. These 3 become isolated and just out the game. So, here's an option. I'm talking the fact that, just to say again, if you've missed it, Kai Havertz is not involved in this midfield, and he wasn't from the start yesterday. Did impress when he come on yesterday, without question. He's not in that starting 11 as a box-to-box midfielder because he's not a box-to-box midfielder. He's a number 10 that influences the game in their half of the pitch, not in this half, in our own half. He won't do that. He needs to learn and develop that side of the game to become more physical, to deal with the physicality of the Premier League. That's why he's not in the starting 11 in a 4-3-3. So, let's get him involved. If you get Kai Havertz involved in the 4-2-3-1 and you make him a number 10, I've said earlier that I think that will give him confidence to play in his natural position. He'll form a link with Timo Werner, which will give Werner confidence that he's got his German teammate, his friend, playing behind him. They sort of know their game. It hopefully will bring the best out of both of them, Werner and Kai Havertz. The only issue that we've possibly got is we leave ourselves a little bit weak in the middle of midfield with Kante and Kovacic in the pivot, trying to deal with any midfield runs coming forward, trying to, work hard without the ball in defensive areas. But could you turn around and say that, to 6 of those players, the goalkeeper, 7 of the players, the goalkeeper, the back 4 and the 2 midfielders, right, you remain static, you sit in your positions and hold your defensive shape, and let those 4 players in attacking areas go and score the goals. Is that going to get the best out of this Chelsea team, playing 4-2-3-1? Kai Havertz, number 10. Timo Werner with arguably probably the best attacking midfield three on paper, or up there with the best in the Premier League. Pulisic, Havertz and Ziyech feeding Werner. With Havertz as the link as a number 10, is that something we should be considering? Is that something Frank Lampard should be considering? What do you guys think? I said it earlier on in the stream, and hopefully some of you guys will agree. So let's get back into this. And also I said another option would be to switch to that. 2 up front. Olivier Giroud plays with either Tammy or Timo Werner. You play Kai Havertz at the top of the diamond and Pulisic and Ziyech on each side with Conte in front of the 2 centre-backs in a deeper midfield role. But I guess you're going to look at the situation and say it's going to leave our midfield in the middle exposed because you're relying on Kai Havertz or Mason Mount or Kovacic to do much more of a job off the ball. Is Kai Havertz going to do that? I think for me with Kai Havertz at the moment, currently, he's getting used to the Premier League. You've got to play him in 4-2-3-1. That's what you need to do. You've got to play him in that formation for me. So, what do you guys think? Let me catch up with some of the chat, if I can. Welcome along, everyone, to the stream. Hopefully you guys are all enjoying it. Let's just see. Right, so let's catch up with this. To be fair, Lambs is coming against some of the best managers in the world. Jose, Pep, Klopp, Carlo. One of the hardest times to be a new manager in the Premier League. That's a good shout. Daniel, if you're to blame someone in particular, I do not think that it will be possible. It's a group effort and Lampard is not solely to blame. They'll all grow together. Let's stay positive. Good shout. Lewis, that's the consistency we've got already. Andy, players got no motivation. Something's wrong. Hustle up. We won't win anything with this midfield. J Mojo, Lampard out. Andy W. Lamps out. Been there through since 1971. Dilly, if Lampard does get sacked, who's your man to replace him? And that's the question, guys. You bring somebody in to replace Frank Lampard if he does get sacked. Who are you going to bring in? And what timescale they're going to be given? Are they going to be given another 3 years to go again to try and create something, to try and create an identity? Or if they fail and find themselves in the same position as Frank next season, we're going to fire them? Is that something that you want to be putting yourselves through? Let's face it, let's be honest. The coaching staff we've got at the club right now, in Frank, Jody, Joe Edwards, you've got people in there that know Chelsea, that are Chelsea, that know everything there is to know about the youngsters coming through, the players they're working with, the youngsters that are in the first team now. If any coaching team is going to develop the Chelsea squad and be given the chance to get the best out of them in a long-term project, it's the people that are in there now. That's my opinion. Let's have a look here. Conte can't pass, Jorginho can't defend. Super important position where we're getting it wrong in a minute from Alex N. Can't give the ball in the middle of the pitch against Man City. What's your thoughts on other vloggers saying Lampard is goner? I don't know. Everyone's got their own opinions, I guess. Samuel, I personally think it's not just Lampard, entire coaching staff and experience as well. Take time for him to get it right. Exactly what I've just been saying. Ice cold, Lampard in 100%. If we sack him now, no quality manager trusts us enough to take the job. Certainly not the likes of Nagelsmann. Good shout. Watching Liverpool-Southampton game, you see the value of having a coach who's tactically astute. What's the score? I don't know what the score is. J Mojo, honestly, I haven't seen Chelsea's game since the Arsenal defeat. Alfie, I want Lampard in, but simple fact, we don't create enough chances week in and week out. Good shout. Some people care more about Lampard than the club. Lewis, if you think the experience he has in the family, sure his uncle could help him. Exactly. Hassan, that worries me is that what worries me most is that we never beaten the current top 6 teams. How can we be up there if we cannot beat the best? Good shout. Don't forget though, it's a developing team. A lot of changes. You think the players that have come in, the first team compared to last season, new players in the Chelsea squad. I'm not making excuses, I'm just pointing out a fact. Goalkeeper Mendy, centre half in Thiago Silva, left back in Chilwell, striker in Werner, a winger in Pulisic, Ziyech. You then got Havertz is 6. So half of your first team haven't got experience of a season in the Premier League. So, you know, it's about give and take. It's about trying to understand the situation. Chaotic, I think the brilliant Lampard gets to me. It doesn't help his job. It influences fans' opinions. It does. Chelsea social media at times is toxic. Absolutely toxic. Southampton's beating Liverpool at half-time. 1-0. Excellent. John, we can't even beat the big team ahead of us in the Premier League. It's scary for sure. Top four is the worry. Understand that. Allegri, Andy. Oyabami, Chelsea should have kept Mo Salah and De Bruyne. People talk about that, but at the time Jose Mourinho was the manager and he didn't feel they worked hard enough without the ball. He got rid of them because they didn't do what he wanted them to do. Jose Mourinho. What Jose Mourinho wanted De Bruyne to do, wanted Salah to do, wanted Juan Mata to do, Mourinho sold them. Especially Mata and De Bruyne. Sold them because he didn't believe they were doing what he asked them. Stephen Brazier, why doesn't Ziyech backtrack and help defend? He should do, but he needs to learn that. He's new to the Premier League. He needs to get that in his game, develop it, get used to the physicality. Clint, give Lampard time, it will come right in the end. Andy W, Tammy and Werner are good together. I cut Chelsea fan for a long time, already from Georgia. We're assuming that we don't have a chance versus Atletico. Frank has to leave ASAP as we think. What do I think? Hopefully not. Hopefully you've seen the reasons as to why not. Let's take that graphic off the screen. Get back to the chat. Alfie, Defo Havertz is number 10. He does not affect the game on the wings and he's slow. That's why we need to get the best out of him. Spy and Mash. When was the last time Abraham scored a goal with his head? He's 6'5". He does need to do more, Tammy. Tammy needs to do a lot more as a link man, holding the ball up. He needs to make the ball stick a lot more. He needs to be more physical. He needs to use his height. I agree 100%. He's more mobile, a mobile striker, than like your Giroud link man, like your Drogba and your Costa. Tammy's game is playing off the shoulder. You know, he's much more mobile than what that position would. What is the stereotypical link man and, you know, target man is up front. J Mojo, we bought Havertz without a plan. I think we bought Kai Havertz, a massive investment, and you know, let's have a look here. I'm going to try and catch up. I probably won't be able to, looking at all the chat. Thank you guys for getting involved and joining in. I'm going to pick out some of these. Apologies if I don't read yours out. Let's have a look. Alex, I like the 4-2-3-1 formation, but that means Mount is out and not bringing his high energy. That's what I mean. It's going to be, you then go Mount and Havertz to battle each other to get that start in a number 10 role in a 4-2-3-1. Alfie, John Terry in to replace Lampard. Keep Frank. David, stop saying are you ad? What it means. Alex, John Terry has some experience to Lampard because he'd Terry being a great addition, especially defensive mindset. Chelsea brought in a defensive coach in the summer, didn't they? The guy from Wigan. John, what do you want? Why would you want JT when he's less experienced than Frank? Yeah, exactly. Baggy, Shevchenko, yeah. Oh, yeah. Shevchenko was a Abramovich signing, wasn't he? Let's just say that. Shev was a great player. Frank needs a senior head to lean on. Bring back Hiddink to assist as a director of football. Baggy, welcome along, mate. Good to see you on the stream. Alfie, I'm going to try and catch up, guys. Be more fight in the team. Definitely. Daniel, judging by how ruthless board in the past and how harsh the fan base can be when we're losing, do you think there's any truth in how Roman could be thinking at the moment? I think Roman's got a bit of a sentimental view of Frank, and I hope he gives him the time. Jackson, I feel the chemistry between the new players does not work, as now give room for the older players. Rise Star, questionable tactics from Lampard's curious guys, same formation tactics again, and again worked at the beginning, and now everyone has exposed us. Manish, good point. Will Tuchel improve Chelsea's stats? It's a question. Mount's been bang average since Leeds game. I think the fact that Mason Mount and his work rate, playing in that box-to-box midfield role, he's you know, Lampard obviously, he cherishes the fact that he's going to give him that work rate. Gilmore's not number 8. He isn't a number 8. Gilmore's not a box-to-box player. And do you want to take N'Golo Kanté and put him back as a box-to-box midfielder and put Gilmore in behind him and rely on Gilmore to sit in front of the back four and do a job? Will Billy Gilmore do a job consistently over the course of a season? I think he'll grow. I don't think he's the answer. I think Gilmore's an amazing talent, outstanding talent. I just don't think he should be given that exposure and put in that particular position now. Get Declan Rice in, someone who speaks on the pitch. So welcome along, guys. Everybody else that's joining the stream in the chat, thank you very much for joining. Hopefully, we're getting through some of your messages. But the message, again, for you guys that are joining that haven't seen it earlier. I put this stat up on the screen earlier on. This is the Premier League table before Southampton play. So Southampton are going to go up to 29 points based on the fact they're 1-0 up. Played the same amount of games as us. So we'll move down to 9th. But on 26 points, we'll find ourselves 4 points outside the top 4. 3 points, sorry, outside the top 4. And if you have a look at the situation, I know you've got teams with games in hand, but is it really that bad? This is what I'm saying. Is it really that drastic that you need to sack Frank Lampard now or give him time to turn it around? Fixtures coming up, showed you guys earlier. Fixtures we've got in the Premier League coming up. Fulham away, a week on Friday. Leicester away, the Tuesday after. Then Wolves at home and Burnley at home. Would you take 3 wins out of those 4 games with Leicester maybe get a draw away or, write that one off because they're playing so well? It's ridiculous that I'm saying that, really. We should be going for wins every single game. But would you take 3 out of 4 to keep Frank? Is that what you'll do? I'm hoping Frank stays. I really am. Right, let's get back to the chat. Welcome along, everybody. Thank you for joining and getting involved. Baggy. If Lampard was sacked, would you be able for Jody to fill in the end of the season? Must have a big name replacement. I think this situation with the fan base and the social media and the pressure, if you get rid of Frank Lampard and employ an assistant to take over at the end of the season, what message does that send football? What message does that send Frank Lampard? What message does it send the squad? Worst case, this is, I don't, for once, again, I'm just saying, I do not think, and I'm hoping Frank doesn't get sacked. I want Frank to be given the time to put it right. But, as I keep saying, if Frank Lampard is sacked and replaced by Jody, if Frank Lampard is basically, somebody else is put in charge temporarily to the end of the season. God forbid Hiddink again. Last time he come 10th. Is that going to be the answer? Is it really going to be the answer? I don't really think he was. Dale, hello. Rystar, welcome to the channel. Thank you, mate. Harish, welcome. Good to see you again. Dennis, welcome. It's good to see you. Mercy, hello. Lampard stays. Chelsea would finish 15th or 10th maximum. Yeah, but how can you... Yeah, but how would you say that, though, Mercy? Do you not think that Chelsea can turn this round with the quality we got in the squad? Do you honestly believe we're going to finish 15th? Can't see it. Really can't see it. The biggest problem, and I've said it earlier in the stream, is the problem that we've got is that, and a lot of what Chelsea fans were saying yesterday was there was no response. That's the disappointing thing for all of us. Frank Lampard never responded to what was happening in game. Didn't respond at half time to Man City's false 9 formation. We kept the same players. We kept the same formation and it wasn't working. And when we made changes, the changes we made were like for like. They weren't, let's give them something to think about by playing a number 10 further forward. Man City had dropped to 3 centre-backs. They were playing all over the place with every single, they had an extra man in midfield all the time. Change the formation. Go 4-2-3-1. Put a number 10 push forward behind Werner or behind Abraham or Giroud. Give the opposition something to think about in their defensive third. Change it. Do something. And it didn't happen. A lot of people were really frustrated about that. And I do understand it. And that's what Frank Lampard will need to learn. We can all agree he needs to learn to do that. Obviously, every single one of us knows that's the situation. So, I can't keep up with all the chat. Thank you guys for getting involved. I will try. Ganesh, I put it up earlier for everybody else. I'm just going to put it up very quickly. Sorry, guys, if you've seen it already. Just for everyone that's joining late. Current formation is 4-3-3. This is what it looks like. Kai Havertz is not involved, and he's not involved because, as I keep saying, my own opinion, Kai Havertz is not a box-to-box number 8 in Chelsea's midfield. So he doesn't fit into that three-man midfield as it is in a 4-3-3 formation. What you could do is say that Kai Havertz could change our fortunes. And he could play in a 4-2-3-1. The only problem is you're going to have two midfielders in the pivot, Conte Kovacic or Conte and Mount. But pushing Kai Havertz into a number 10 in a 4-2-3-1, playing behind Timo Werner, is someone that could unlock the door and change the game for us and change our fortunes in the coming weeks. Those three in behind Werner or Abraham or Giroud, from an attacking sense, would be, you'd hope, be much more creativity. Goals. You know, you're going to scare the life out of the opposition because they've got to sit and think, right, how am I going to deal with these three playing behind a striker? Am I going to pull one of the defenders out? I'm going to ask my midfield to drop and cover the number 10 and cover out wide. It's something that's an option for you guys to consider, 4-2-3-1. Worst case scenario, you know, if you can't break teams down and you're not getting no joy of one up front, stick two up front in a diamond formation in the midfield. Werner and Giroud, or Giroud and Abraham with someone in behind them. And then, as I say, Conte sitting in front of the two centre-backs. But the problem is you leave yourselves a little bit exposed as far as the middle of midfield goes. So as I'm saying, that's the situation with the formations as it is, options that Chelsea have got. For all you guys that are joining late, thank you very much for joining. I say late. I'm not having a go when I'm saying that. Thank you very much for joining. So, again, for those who've not seen it, that's the points per game record that Frank Lampard's been hammering about at the moment. And all those managers, majority of the managers, have all got experience of being successful, winning trophies, renowned reputations in football. Frank come into the Chelsea job along with Di Matteo, along with Avram Grant, with no experience, no real experience. And the experience that Frank Lampard had was not anything like this. This is the first time he's had to deal with a situation like this, and we need to back him and give him the chance to work out of it, in my opinion. Put it right, learn from it, become a better manager for it, and to go again. That's what I'm thinking. That's my own opinion. Hopefully you guys will agree. As I said earlier, I can't keep up with all the chat. I really appreciate everyone getting involved. I don't think Lampard will be sacked. Hopefully not. Brian, hello. Frank's one of our greatest heroes, so I'm reluctant to say Lampard out, but I'm concerned about how he's regularly outwitted tactically. Yeah. Steve, work rate is down. Seems to be slow. We need to speed up the pass and the ball quicker. Static Aiden, we can't play high to Werner. Sim Sam, diamond formation wouldn't work, I know. Conte isn't a holding midfielder, I know. I think we're going to leave ourselves exposed when we say that. Stephen, past 3 matches, teams exploit our midfield. Chelsea continue to play one way. Yeah, we need to adjust. Now, I will say this. There was one game back in the day when Antonio Conte, in his title-winning season, and standing in the Matthew Harding lower, watching that game, we were playing West Brom at home. Tony Pulis was manager of West Brom, and they literally had 11 men behind the ball. And Chelsea struggled to break them down. Antonio Conte was the manager. I'm saying, in that second half, Antonio Conte changed with 3 substitutions, one at a time. He changed the formation 3 times in the second half to get a result. He went from the 3 centre back with the like the 3-man midfield, and then the wing backs and the forwards. He changed it to 4-3-3. He then went 4-4-2, I think, or even maybe 4-2-3-1. He changed the formation 3 times. And if you can remember, Diego Costa went out wide to challenge the defender, won the ball, come inside and rifle the ball left foot into the top corner. It's something like that people need to see from Frank Lampard. He needs to improve that side of the game. He needs to look at what's not working and adapt, just as Pep Guardiola did yesterday. As I said earlier, Pep Guardiola looked at what was happening in the first 15 minutes. Chelsea went on top. He brought over Cancelo when he was taking a throw, give him tactical instruction, basically gave him the instruction to change it up. Bring Sterling over to the right-hand side, not through the middle. Cancelo was to move in the middle of midfield when he had possession, making an extra man, and De Bruyne was playing false nine. And as soon as that happened, the whole game changed. Completely changed. I don't know if you guys saw it earlier, but the situation earlier when I was watching Monday Night Football, Jamie Carragher was talking about the fact that when Man City scored their first goal yesterday, there was a period of 4 minutes 50 seconds, and in that 4 minutes and 50 seconds between goals, bearing in mind all celebrations for the goals and stop-start, Chelsea made 6 passes in that period. Man City made 50. And of the 6 passes Chelsea made, 2 of them were by Edouard Mendy. Chelsea literally were just clueless to try and deal with the fact that Man City had changed. You know, you're Frank Lampard, you're preparing for Man City with your coaching staff. You put a plan together for the team based on how you think they're going to play. In-game, Pep Guardiola makes a tactical switch, and all of a sudden your plans go out the window. Zuma and Silva had nobody to mark and started getting confused as to who goes and challenges further forward, who goes out wide to chase the ball. The midfield were overrun because City always had an extra man, whether it was Cancelo coming in to make the extra man or Bernardo Silva dropping in to make in the middle of midfield to make extra man. And Chelsea couldn't cope with what they were doing. We didn't react quick enough to it, and that was the problem. That was the problem by Frank Lampard, for Frank Lampard and everybody else. And we never really reacted to it. And that's why people are questioning. That's why I can see the comments made about his tactics, about reaction. I can see why people are saying it. A lot of people agree. Do I think we're going to make any January transfers? I think the only one we can probably make is going to be, might be Declan Rice. But you could then see maybe Fikayo Tomori go the other way. I don't want Tomori to leave. I think Tomori should be right up there ahead of Rudiger and Christensen for me, but we have to wait and see what's going to happen. Virtual Acrobat, Frank needs to resign and learn a job. He's probably got the best lesson he's got at the moment, the best lesson you can probably have by actually being in a job, going through tough times. He spoke after the game yesterday about going through tough times and having a bit of pain from it and to go again. You know, why not give him the chance to learn the job while he's doing it? I know it's a results business. I know there's a lot of Chelsea fans, or there's a lot of football fans that only know Chelsea through being successful. They're used to seeing Chelsea win. You know, the greatest, the most successful period in our history. And that's what they're used to seeing. And let's be honest, a reason why they've got that opinion as well is for the past. With Chelsea hiring and firing managers willy-nilly, having this reputation of pulling the trigger too soon, maybe. Some managers we agreed with. Some managers we didn't. But, it's just, that's the way it was. And I guess that's why people do have their opinion of Chelsea. Jessica, sack Lampard will be the most stupid decision the club could take. Exactly, I agree with you. Stephen, Pep found out Chelsea's weakness in the midfield. Not enough creativity, not penetrating more for the midfield and playing more on midfield and stop always depend on the wings. Dilly, you love to see Terry as an assistant to Lampard. Joey needs to be more active. He seems too quiet, sat on the bench. All discarding Rudiger. He's performed really well whenever he's needed. Harris, for me, I think Tony Rudiger is a good defender, but I think for me, he plays on the edge. Now, I'm not sure if anybody else agrees with me. That's just my own opinion. Tony Rudiger plays on the edge. And if there's a bit of argy-bargy going on, he's the first there to get involved. Or sometimes when he sort of goes in for a challenge, he looks like he sort of goes a bit too far. And I just think, you just can't make those mistakes in game. We make enough mistakes as it is. So, maybe I might be wrong. Miltos, hello mate, comes from a Pompey fan. I hope you guys find your way back to top of the league. I don't actually think Lampard needs to be sacked. I feel like the team needs a change. Steve Bruce will do a better job than Lampard. Mercy, what are you saying? Deary me. Why do you want to employ someone who spends most of his time, no disrespect to Steve Bruce, but spends most of his time in a relegation battle? Stephen, do I think Ziyech would play better in the middle of midfield? No. I think he's too weak. I think he's not physical enough to deal with the demands of Premier League football in the middle of midfield. You got to be strong. You got to be physical. You got to be, energetic. You got to take a hit as well as dishing it out a bit. And Sim Sam, I do agree. Yeah, looks like he's been on the lash. Deary me, Adrian. How our defence need fixing? Haven't you seen how teams get through? Our defence is too easy. Again, that's when you might say, N'Golo, can you sit a bit deeper and play in front of the back four? What I'd say about the situation we're currently in, guys, let me just say this, and it's important to remember, I'm going to post it up one more time. We're only 3 points off 4th place, or 3 points off 5th if the result tonight stays the same. And yesterday was the only opportunity that Frank Lampard had to play Hakim Ziyech and Christian Pulisic on either side of our team going forward. Both of them, because of Pep Guardiola's tactical change yesterday, couldn't have an influence and get involved. They struggled. They were out of the game. That's not going to happen every single game. We need to give it time for Ziyech and Werner to play together, work together, and create. A lot of people are talking about Hakim Ziyech and talking about Werner, but I think a lot of our hopes at the moment are pinned on Christian Pulisic, because I think Pulisic showed last year that he is just unbelievable. The guy is so talented, and if you step forward to 5 years' time, hopefully still at Chelsea, imagine the player he's going to be in 5 years. He could be up there with the likes of Eden Hazard for me. I think the guy has got untold ability, and I think he's going to have a big say on what happens to Chelsea's season this year if we can keep him fit. And then you add Hakim Ziyech, who's still trying to settle into the league. Judge Ziyech, Werner, Havertz, judge them next season when they've had a season to bed in the most unusual circumstances you can ever imagine. And then we'll go again. I just think that, and I really, really hope that Frank Lampard is given the opportunity to come through the tough time, learn from it, and become a better manager. That's what I'm thinking. Hopefully you guys agree. Thank you everyone for watching. I'm going to call it there. It's been about an hour and 15 minutes. Rather than do a news video, I thought I'd do this tonight to see if anybody gets involved. Sienna, Lampard needs to think tactically and look at who's good enough. Guys, thank you for getting in the chat. Apologies if I've not read your chat message out. It's going mad and I appreciate it. I really do. Ice Cold, thank you, mate. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Drop a like on this for me to put it out there to more Chelsea fans who hopefully will agree and can join in the discussion in the future. Hopefully, subscribe to my channel as well if you haven't subscribed already. So, just to finish up, guys, I'm hoping Frank Lampard stays in the job and he's given the time to turn things around. I believe we can still turn it around. 100%. I really do. If we lose to Fulham and we lose to Leicester, then I think the pressure will be ramped up, but hopefully not. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a good one. Thank you for joining. As I say, it's very different to what I normally do with just my news update video. So thank you for getting involved. Have a good evening, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for a video. Not another chat, a video. Stay tuned. Like, subscribe. See you tomorrow.